Hi, my name is George Humphreys. I'm from Ashridge Canicross. Canicross is cross-country running with your dog. You have your dog out in front and you encourage them to give you some positive assistance with your running. The dog wears a harness designed for pulling, and connecting you to the dog is a bungee line which absorbs any shock. The runner wears a waist belt or a hip belt, and that's designed so that you can run hands-free and maintain your balance. Originally, it is thought that it came from ski jaw, where in the Nordic countries the cross-country skiers were towed by their dogs in the snow, and it was a method used for getting from A to B. So rather than skiing permanently, you would have the assistance of your dog, rather like a sledge dog pulling a sledge. The dog would pull the skier along. In the summer, the dogs obviously needed to be kept fit, so the mushers would often run with their dogs to keep them fit in the summer for the winter and the snow. So that's where we think it originated from. It came to the UK in around 2003. A group of mushers in the Forest of Dean set up a Canicross race for the first time. They got people introduced to the sport that was currently quite active on the continent. A couple of the mushers on that first meet then went on and started developing a race series and taking Canicross to a wider audience. They created the company called Canicross, which then went on and had races. They moved the races around the country to allow all breeds of dogs to come and compete at Canicross. Canicross really got a boost thanks to the Kennel Club inviting Canicross to display the sport at Crufts in 2008. Really, that's when Canicross started to take off in the UK. Canicross can be done by anyone, from people starting their couch to 5K to seasoned runners. It is a sport where you can just go out and enjoy the countryside with your dog. Yes, you can get from basic competition right through to international competition, where you have the European Championships and the World Championships. Canicross is really good for all levels of runner, because your dog, when it's out in front of you, will motivate you. You can't help it. You will run to your dog, and in running to your dog, you will improve whatever level you are. They are the best personal trainer you can get, and they're with you for life. Any dog can partake in Canicross. Obviously, check with your vet beforehand. Some breeds may have difficulty breathing, and it would be unfair to take those breeds out if they're not designed to actually just go out and run around the park. You as an owner can actually see whether your dog would be happy doing it. If it likes to run, the likelihood is it'll enjoy Canicross. If it's a couch potato and struggles with its breathing, then it's probably not the best sport for it to partake in. Age-wise, you can start to train your dog with directional control, the same as obedience and everything else like that, from the word go. But you are not going to put a dog in a harness and expect to run a marathon when it's a puppy. Dogs should be 1 year old. You've got to allow their bones to develop and harden up. Obviously, this is breed dependent, because larger dogs take a longer time to mature. So your dog ideally should be at least 1 year old before you start putting it in a harness and expecting it to run. When you start Canicross, you don't go out and run a marathon to start with. You introduce your dog gradually. So at 1 year old, you'd be looking to start off doing 1, 2, 3, 4K, 5K maybe, building up to about 5k. Competition-wise, you're only allowed to compete up to 5k at a year old. When your dog gets to 18 months old, then it is allowed to enter the 10k races. If you push the dog too early, the same as any sport, you're just asking for problems in later life. It is not worth the risk. Let your dog develop. Don't push your dog too early. You want the dog to live a full and healthy life. A question often asked is, do dogs, when they are trained to Canicross, pull when they're out and about in other situations? That's up to you as a trainer. We train our dogs to pull when they're in harness. When they're in harness, they're out, they're going to have fun, they're going to pull you. When they're on the lead and collar, you train them to be at your side. The fact that you do Canicross doesn't stop you doing obedience, it doesn't stop you doing agility. In fact, Canicross, in a way, balances agility, because agility as a sport operates primarily in the summer. Canicross is a winter type activity because you need cooler weather. So you've taken your dog out, and I advocate joining a local club or going out with a group of experienced people. Through social media, through the web, you'll find groups that go out closest to you. Go and join them. Get your dog established in the basics. So start teaching your lefts, your rights, your ons. If you're going to be traditional, you'd use hike on to go forward, G and haw for left and right. When you feel comfortable, you might want to go and push yourself into the odd competition. Canics go around the country and they have their own website that covers their competitions. There is a lot of competitions that are published on Facebook. Groups like the Trail Runners will have information on the competitions. The clubs themselves, now clubs are growing throughout the country, are laying on their own competitions for people to partake in. A lot of the human race events, a lot of the brutal events permit dogs to come and run alongside the human runners. So getting to know people locally within your Canicross environment will help you get to find out where the competitions are. As time goes on, it is expected that certain websites will publish more and more information about where competitions are held. Competitions are held normally in the winter time because the temperature has to be cool enough to run the dogs. If it's hot in the summer, you're not going to run your dog. So the competition season tends to be in the winter, which is great because it's muddy. Races have different formats. Some races will have a mass start to start with, where you all as a group will go off. Where you have mixed races with humans and dog runners, they'll often start you either 5 minutes before or 10 minutes after the main field, so that you have a separate start. So just get used to going out and racing. Don't go and push yourself for a marathon to start with. Your dog might not appreciate it. So just get out there, do a 5, 10k races. Most races are that sort of distance. You can train your dog to do longer distances, up to ultra marathon distances with their owners, but you can't just go out and do it. You've got to develop the dog's ability to be able to cope with that distance just the same as you would yourself. When you train for these longer distances, you are going to actually, as a runner, carry more equipment, because it is your responsibility to look after your dog. So you're going to be carrying the dog's water, the dog's bowls. There are people out there with experience of doing these distances, and you have to find out what you need in order to cover these longer distances. But for the 5 and 10k, they're the ideal ones to get started on. One thing you will find, Canicross is addictive. You might go out the first time with a lot of trepidation, thinking, I'm going to have all these fit runners around me, I'm going to have all these fit dogs, I'm really nervous about this. I'll tell you what, you go out, you do it, you'll come back with a big smile on your face, your dog will have a big smile on his face, you'll get addicted to Canicross. It is one of those things that you go out, you think, this is fun. This is just great fun. Running through the countryside with your dog, I'll tell you what, you can't beat it. It is great.